You start.
Thank you, Rodolfo. Hello, everybody. Welcome to May 2022's Virtual Bariatric Meetup hosted by Very Nation and Rodolfo Alvarez. Rodolfo is our expert today. We are so excited that he's going to teach us about mindful eating. So if you're joining us live, you're introducing yourself in the chat. Thank you so very much for doing that. We're going to go through some very basic housekeeping information, and then we are turning this forum over to Rodolfo, who is going to really help us deep dive into mindful eating. So thank you all so very much for being here. We are excited. Let's do some very quick introductions. Rodolfo, will you go to the next slide?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. So we are your hosts. My name is April. Jason and Natalie are also here. We are co-founders of Very Nation. And of course, Rodolfo is with us. I had VSG in July of 2019. I have lost 114 pounds. I'm battling some regain, or 104. I'm not exactly sure. I've been low. I'm up a little bit. And that's kind of where I'm at, and thrilled to be one of the co-founders of Very Nation. Jason, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, ma'am. I'm Jason Smith on Instagram. You can find me at _Smithsonian_. And like April, I also had VSG. I had mine March 11th of 20, and had originally lost 191 pounds. I'm also battling a little bit of regain. So we're knocking that 190. I think we're going to go take that. I think we go back to 159, maybe, I think is what it is right now. So just, every day is a new day, working on it, trying to do the best we can to track and get back where we need to be. So that's one of the reasons why tonight is so important for me.
Absolutely. Miss Nat, want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello, I'm Natalie at BreakingBarry_ers. So Breaking Barriers on Instagram. I have had three surgeries. The first one was the lap band in 2009. It failed due to complications. I then had the plication done in 2011. It ended up not working for me. Later found out that there were some sutures that had come undone. So it was like the surgery had never happened in the first place. So I gained all my weight back and then some. And I had VSG done in September of 2020. Currently, I have just been floating between these numbers, but I haven't been able to continue my weight loss. So I just say I'm sitting at 140 pounds weight loss right now, getting back on track. April has been helping me get some tracking under my belt so I can get some data. You know, she loves data. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
I was muted. Sorry. Thank you, Nat. Rodolfo, I know you're going to go a little bit, well, you are going to go very in depth into your personal story, but please just take a moment and introduce yourself to everyone.
Yes, of course. My name is Rodolfo Alvarez. I'm from Chile, and I'm a wellness coach. I've been part of Very Nation since January of this year, and I have struggled with my relationship with food all my life. Right? So what I would like to share with you today are some of the tools that have helped me, and I've seen that have helped others to create a healthy relationship with food and feeling control, I would say, which I think that is really important because sometimes we don't know what is happening, right? So today we're going to do a journey to explore and start getting the control back.
Oh, all right. I'm ready to dive in. Let's go over some ground rules and just revisit our mission statement, and then Rodolfo is going to take it over from there. So the mission of the Virtual Bariatric Meetup is really to create a supportive place for the bariatric community to come together with humor, humility, and honesty. We want to destigmatize bariatric surgery. We want to grow a community of and for bariatric patients and their supporters. And we just want a place that we can share ideas and experiences that add value to our lives before and after bariatric surgery. Just some very kind of simple ground rules. We're always going to assume best intent. Share what you are comfortable with sharing publicly. This is being recorded so that anybody else can access the support. If we see any nudity, violence, or isms, foul language, like real foul language, you guys know I have a sailor's mouth, but we'll just remove you from the event. And just please know this is not medical advice, right? We want to make sure that we all understand that this is This is simply an educational tool that we are coming together with as a community. Always consult your doctor before you make any changes to your medical program whatsoever. I think I did it. Oh, and in 8 minutes, that's a record. Just gonna say, that's a record. All right, Rodolfo, I would just love to hand it over to you. You are gonna work your magic. Everybody make sure that you got some water so we can continue to sit throughout the event. And I'm going to bust out my notebook. Jason, Natalie, and I will continue to monitor the chat, my friends, but please know that this is our space to connect, learn, and grow together. And that means that if you feel compelled to unmute and ask a question or point something out, please do so, okay?
Perfect. So I just continue. Okay, great. So thank you, April, for that introduction. Tonight, we're going to talk about mindful eating, okay? And in which context? If today you're here, it's because probably you had bariatric surgery or you will have bariatric surgery, right? And from my perspective, bariatric surgery is an exceptional tool that help you to achieve your goals and managing the problem of being overweight. Okay, that's how I feel. And in this community, there's a lot said about the honeymoon stage, right? So maybe you have your surgery, you start having results, you feel empowered, etc. But then there's a point that you feel that you are stuck, or a lot of people feel that they are stuck and maybe they are in a stall, okay? And what I feel is that we need more tools. Bariatric surgery is a tool, but I think as a bariatric patient, what is desirable is to have a toolbox. And today we're going to learn one additional tool that is going to help you in your journey. This is one of the tools, and I need to say that there are a lot of tools, okay? Having a support group, being part of a group, for example, like Barination, is a tool too. Accountability, working with a dietitian, going to therapy, having a coach, etc., etc., etc. Every journey is going to be different. So my invitation for you tonight is for you to start collecting new tools, and mindful eating is one of those tools, okay? So my purpose tonight is to give you clarity. And when I say this, I would like you to add new tools. So if you don't understand something, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask, okay? Today, I will be serving you. And when I say that, what I would like to share is that my purpose is for you to learn, create value, and leaving this workshop, this class, with new tools that you can start using immediately, okay? So, before starting with the contents of the class, I would like to share a little about me and about my professional life. So, as I told you, I'm a wellness coach. I'm currently living in Santiago de Chile, situation that may change in the next weeks. So I'm very excited. And here I run a center that is called Inspira. And what do? We develop different wellness programs. And we started with programs that focused on creating a relationship that was healthy or balanced with food. Why? Because me, with a group of entrepreneurs, felt that the solutions that were offered were not enough. A lot of times people focus on the diet, right? And they think that if you change what you eat, then you're going to get the result. But we need to understand that being overweight is a more complex problem that needs like different approaches and different solutions. So what we offered was a program with different alternatives. So what I'm going to share with you tonight are some of those tools. Actually, I collected the most important tools and I created this class. So I hope you create value. That is in terms of my professional life, okay? Now I'm working in the States. I'm proudly an expert of Barination. And I would like to share now about my personal life, okay? So what you're watching in your screen is a picture of my before and after. As I told you at the beginning, I always struggled with my weight since I was a kid. And I think that that happened because I experienced a lot of anxiety and I was bullied when I went to school, okay? And I think that I found comfort in food, and it was a way to disconnect from my emotions. So when I was sad, when I was feeling loneliness, what I did was turn to food. And I think that I created some habits, and those habits stayed inside of me. So there was a moment of my life when I was like 15 years old where I was tired of being like bullied, right? And I decided to make a change. And I discovered that if I followed a diet and I worked out all day, then I was going to lose weight. And I lost weight. But guess what happened after that? I didn't change my mindset, so I recovered all the weight. So I think that for a long period of time, I was like living the yo-yo effect until there was a moment where I figured out that I needed to change the way that I related to food. And I needed to start listening to my body. Mindful eating is related to being connected to our needs, being connected to our bodies. And a lot of times I think that we eat and we don't understand why we are eating. So today we are going to do a journey to explore what are your eating habits? Why do you eat? Because maybe today food is having a function in your life and you could replace that. And maybe you are needing other things, but food is being a good way, right? A good way to manage that need. So we're going to talk today about being in the present, being connected to our bodies, and make smart choices. And just allowing ourselves to just stop, which is something that I feel that we don't give the permission often. It's like we live in this world and we do everything automatic and we just keep going. And given that, we disconnect from our bodies and from its needs, okay? So please let me know if you're following me. I would like to know. You can just like, oh, okay, perfect. Thank you very much. So let's continue. Today's objectives. We are going to understand how we develop an unbalanced relationship with food and how this impacts on our weight. We will comprehend the role emotions and thoughts play in our eating habits, and we will obtain tools to practice mindful eating. Okay? So, before continuing, I would like to hear from you. This class is all about you. I'm not the main character tonight. You are the protagonist of this class. So I would like to open up the space for to hear what are your motivations to be here tonight, okay? So please feel free to just like activate your microphone and just share with us.
I'll go. So for me, I am in a very stressful situation in my life, per usual, but a little bit more than usual right now. So I really need to activate these strategies to make sure that I don't use food as a coping mechanism for the stress that I'm going through.
Perfect. Thank you. So get new strategies. Thanks, Whitney.
Whitney, you beat me out. I'm usually the first one to sign up when I join. I had hit on mute and then you chimed in. Wow. Yeah, no, for me, very similar. Particularly work has hit some real challenges for me. I've got young kids. I've got a husband who got COVID apparently today. So this week's going to be fun. My son had it 2 weeks ago. My babysitter was on vacation the week after that. So it's like going to be 3 weeks of me that works more than a full-time job, having to cover everything, which is fine. The laundry's going. I cooked prep dinner, but it gets old after a while. And so I get really good, like on day 1, 2, 3, I'm fired up. I've got it. I'm like overcompensating. And then who the hell knows what happens?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, April.
Right? Oh my God, the pendulum.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that is me too.
Because you only
It's
have
me.
so much energy, right?
Yeah.
You only have so much energy. So I use it, but then I run out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, so sustainable tools. right?
Yeah. Mhm.
Thanks for sharing. Thank you.
I've just been noticing that I'm eating past fullness pretty consistently.
Mhm.
Why am I doing that? It's related to emotion. It's because I'm not being mindful. I need to reconnect to what is going on. And I can see in the chat too, a lot of people are saying really great things, right? Work. Some of us use food to make life more exciting. Some of us, right, use food as the only space in our life that we can like rebel and not do things perfectly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing, April. Someone else would like to share? Remember this.
I just love seeing you beautiful people. But mindfulness helped me get through 3 vacations in the last year without putting any weight on when I got home. So if I can just pick up more tools to help me in my everyday life, I'm all for it.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Heather.
I think that's where what I'm wanting is more sustainable tools. I'm kind of in this mindset of like, okay, summer is gearing up. I know that I'm going to be on the road. I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to be with family. But being able to have these mindful eating tools in my belt for these moments, I want to be like Heather. I want to not like come home and just be like, oh, I gained weight or like feeling bad about myself. So that's what I'm looking for.
Thank you, Natalie. Thanks. Maureen, you wanted to say something? Please
Yeah.
go.
I grew up with a lot of trauma in my life, and we were not allowed to talk about it to anyone. We didn't talk about it in our family. We weren't allowed to talk about it with anyone. And I think a lot of families, when things are wrong, we're not allowed. We were told we couldn't cry. We were told we couldn't do anything about it except keep our mouths shut. And that's what made us good, is keeping your mouth shut. And although I don't do that very well, anytime anything was wrong, we were fed. Here, have a cookie. Here, you don't feel good, eat. You're having something's good, eat. Something's bad, eat. We had more food in our house than what our family could eat all the time, because we were all very big eaters. And anytime anything went wrong, whether it was being bullied or any other situations with our family, you just turn to food because that's the only coping mechanism you're allowed. And so I really want to learn ways to not rely on food for anything else other than what it's supposed to be for.
Perfect. We're going to work on that. So thanks for being here tonight. I would like to say thank you very much for sharing. Thank you very much for being vulnerable, because I think that what we are doing is like stop our lives and give ourselves the chance to be vulnerable, show and share what is really happening and asking for support. So thanks for opening up that space. And if you notice, we are all going through challenges. And I feel that it's better to go through those challenges with the support of other people. So I'm honored of being here tonight. So let's continue. What we see is that our weight is not the weight that we want, and we are overweight, right? But that, for me, it's a symptom. And it's a symptom that could have different causes. Some of the causes could be related to, for example, hormonal imbalance, right? There are some hormones that are not working properly. And other roots could be that we have an unhealthy relationship with food, okay? And what do I mean when I say an unbalanced relationship with food? That sometimes we eat, but maybe we get pleasure from food, and maybe we eat and we feel guilty, or we start asking ourselves if what we're doing is correct or not. And maybe we eat driven by emotions. We are not listening to our bodies, okay? And I think that when we have an unbalanced relationship with food, that has an impact in other areas of our life. What is likely to happen is that we start having an unhealthy relationship with our bodies and with ourselves. And then we start having limiting beliefs about our identity. For example, I'm a person with no value, or I can't control myself, or I'm not capable, right? So in the long run, what happens is that we have low self-esteem and we start experiencing dissatisfaction. And guess how we could cope with those emotions or sensations that are uncomfortable? Eating. We can turn to food again. So what happens is that we are stuck in a vicious cycle, okay? So the tools that we're going to learn today are associated to breaking that vicious cycle. And that's why I need all your attention. If you need to take notes, please take notes. And as I told you, if you have any question, please feel free to ask. So let's begin with the tools and let's go to understand the solutions, okay? So we need to understand a fundamental before starting, which is the following. Our brain seeks pleasure, okay? Our brain seeks pleasure. And why do we need to understand this? Because that's why some solutions, like for example, diets, don't work in the long run. When we are restricted, that is something that is going to last, just for a while. After that, our brain is going to start going crazy and thinking like, from where I can get more pleasure, right? So the solutions and the tools that we use need to consider that our brain seeks for pleasure and we need to enjoy the journey. If we are not enjoying the journey, because for example, we are experiencing emotions that are uncomfortable, or maybe we are eating food and we are not enjoying what we are eating, that is not going to be sustainable, right? I think that's something similar when people, for example, starts working out. And they pay a year membership on the gym. And they are like, this year, I'm going to make it, right? But if they don't enjoy the process, they will like stop going to the gym at some point. Why? Because the brain needs pleasure. The brain seeks pleasure, okay? That's the beginning. And what I would like to explore with you is the following. Our brain have different parts that are associated to the relationship that we have with food, okay? So I would describe 3 of those areas. I will talk about the lower brain, the limbic system, and the upper brain. And in order to explain the processes that happen in our brain, I'm going to give you an example, okay? So let's say that you had your bariatric surgery, you are 3 months out, and then it's Monday and you went to your work and you didn't bring your lunch, okay? You forgot your lunch. So you are at your job, maybe it's 12 or 1 p.m. and you start getting hungry, okay? The lower brain is associated to the impulses, our basic needs. So being hungry is a basic needs and it's an impulse that is perceived from our body. Other example of impulses are, for example, being sleepy or wanting to go to the restroom, right? So just think about that scenario where you're at your job, you didn't bring your lunch, and then you are hungry. You're experiencing this pain here at your stomach level, okay? Then maybe this Monday was stressful. As always, like Mondays are stressful, so this Monday wasn't the exception. So maybe you're experiencing anxiety, you're experiencing stress. So this second part of your brain, which is your limbic system, is going to be crazy. And maybe you will not to know what to do. Maybe you have some challenges at work that you don't know how to solve, etc. And then you're going to start having some thoughts, right? You're going to start thinking about the situation. So maybe you're going to start telling yourself, oh, you're hungry, you need to eat something, you didn't bring food, what are the alternatives, what are the options? And you will start thinking, oh, there's a vending machine. I will go to the machine and I will have something, okay? And maybe you go to that machine and the alternatives that are there are not healthy, or they don't follow the advice that your dietitian gave you. But you are so hungry, you are still experiencing like this impulse, and then you are stressed and you're experiencing anxiety, and probably you're going to choose something that gives you comfort, okay? So if you notice in this example, in this Monday, these three parts of the brain were interacting. And those parts sometimes are not aligned, because maybe you can have some thoughts that tell you, no, you need to stick to your plan, you need to stick to your diet, you are capable, you got this, like you can trust in yourself. And then there's going to be a part of you that is going to be experiencing anxiety that is going to try to cover the emotion in any way. So we need to understand that every day, all these parts of the brain are interacting, and they are, I will not like to say confusing, but they are like sending messages that go in directions that are not the same. So at the end, what is very likely to happen is that we make a choice driven by one of these parts, and maybe the choice is not going to be a choice that we're going to be proud after, okay? So when I talk about mindful eating, what I'm referring to is about being aware of these processes. So if you want to eat something, just allow yourself to stop, listen to your body, listen to your emotions, and listen to your thoughts. And just stop for 15 seconds and just listen. And maybe for you, this is going to sound like very obvious or something that like, yeah, we should do that, right? But I promise you that is something that we don't do. Actually, in my program that was called Balanced, what I asked people was to stop and start writing all the thoughts that they have, the emotions that they were experiencing, and the physical sensations, just for a while. Why? Because when you have everything written, right? Everything is there and you can see what is happening. With that information, you can make a choice that is a healthy choice. If not, you're going to be just like in automatic pilots and you're going to choose something and you will not understand what is really happening. So if you are eating, for example, more than the food that you should eat, or if you are eating things that you know that you shouldn't, do this exercise. Just allow yourself in those moments where you are making the choices to stop. Listen to your body and listen to your needs. Because maybe you have a need that you should satisfy in another way, which is not related to eating, and that would be a powerful thing to do.
So Rodolfo, that's a perfect segue. Lauren in the chat made this really spot on like observation, right? She says, I find it hard to define quick ways to get pleasure or comfort that isn't food. Most of my alternatives take a while, right? So instead of finding this comfort, you know, from food, I'm going to go get a massage or a pedicure or things like that. But in this type of scenario that you just walked us through, what you're saying is that the goal is not necessarily to find pleasure or comfort. The goal is to understand what you're going through, and then give yourself some time to make a more rational decision about it, right? Because from what I'm understanding, it's not always going to be possible for us to get from discomfort to comfort so quickly, right? And that's okay. So just the act of moving through those emotions is a way for us to move us away from discomfort, not all the way to comfort.
I think that what she's suggesting is more about like the solving the problem level, I would say, right? I'm just in the like, explore yourself first. After I'm going to talk about that and different tools to get the pleasure, right? But sorry, I think that first we need to know what is happening. And I think that we live in a society that promotes being disconnected from our bodies. Actually, I would say that we are more connected with our phones than with our bodies, to be honest. And how are we going to have a healthy relationship with food if we are not knowing why we are eating? So the first thing is to just stop and be aware of all these processes that are happening. Because maybe for years you have been making choices because you don't understand what is happening, and you're just covering these processes with food.
Dude, you literally just blew my mind, because I have been noticing that I am constantly just doing this, scroll, scroll, scroll. It's because I don't want to think about this stuff. So I'm using this as a distraction from.
Well, and Tish made a good point too, because she stated, like, once you write it down, it's real. So when you were talking about writing down what you're thinking about, like if you're talking about just going to get something to eat or whatever, when you write it down, what that may be or what things actually sound good to you at the time, once you have that written down on paper, that's a way to hold yourself accountable. Because if you actually look at it and start going over the menu that you put on that paper, more than likely it's going to connect with you somewhere, and you're going to be like, wait a minute, I don't need to eat. Like, I want to eat that right now, but I don't need to eat that right now, because it may make the connection that that is not actually in alignment with your bariatric goal. And it does give you, a second to pause and think about it and kind of make the connection on your own if your brain's not going to do it for you, because trying to use willpower is kind of, that's finite. Like, it's going to run out. So especially if you're having a rough day, by lunchtime, usually on a Monday, your willpower is gone. Like, you've used it all up just to get to lunch in the first place. So you're not going to have that ability to sit back and make that conscious decision in that way if you've already been through a war zone and it's barely lunchtime yet.
Exactly. And Jason, I would like to add something to what you're saying, because writing, I think that forces us to connect. Forces us. Actually, I use a lot writing techniques. Well, we have here with me. I use it a lot because I think that they allow us to be in the present, connect to our bodies. And there's a lot said associated to how they help us to process emotions too. When you write about your feelings, what you're doing is processing what you are feeling. So it's something that I recommend 100%. Yes, yes. So remember, you need to stop. We need to stop to understand what is happening. And I think that this scheme of the brain will help you in order to understand what is happening in different levels. Because one thing is what we are telling ourselves, the thoughts. Another thing is the emotions, that we are experiencing. Like, for example, anxiety, angst, maybe we are angry, maybe we are bored, maybe we're experiencing loneliness, etc. And the other thing is, what are we feeling in terms of our impulses? Why? Because, for example, I have been working with people when they confuse sometimes being hungry with being thirsty. Okay? A lot of people confuse that. So when I say like that, it's important to connect to the body and connect to our impulses too, is to understand what is really happening inside of us. A lot of people, for example, when they are tired, they drink coffee instead of listening to the body and resting, right? So I think that this is a journey to start learning about ourselves and about our needs as humans, okay? So are you ready to continue? Yes, perfect. Let's go. This is one of my favorite schemes that I always show in my classes in Variation, because I think that is so powerful. It explains the relationship between our thoughts, our beliefs, and our results. Okay, so now I will share with you another example, which is the following. Now I'm 6 months post-op, okay? And I was in a stall, right? And I asked for support and I was able to start losing weight again, okay? And I started with a diet. I was following the diet 100%. And that week I was invited to an event, which is like a wedding, a birthday, or something like that. So when I arrived to this event, there's someone there, and this person offers me something to eat, okay? So I want you to imagine right now your biggest temptation, like your favorite dish. Think about that dish, 1 second, Okay, so what is going to happen is that you go to this event, someone is there offering you the food, and what we do with events is that we perceive them, meaning you're going to smell the food, you're going to start thinking about eating, you're going to see the food, and you're going to start craving maybe to eat. You will have desire to eat, I would say that, okay? And let's say that you have some thoughts, like, for example, I can't resist this temptation, or I'm an anxious person, or I don't know how to say no, okay? If I have thoughts like those, probably what is going to happen when I'm there in front of this dish is that I'm going to start experiencing anxiety. And maybe I will have a huge desire of eating, okay? And I will start probably with a negotiation process, which will look like this. I will start telling myself, oh, next Monday, I will start again. Oh, I will just try a little and that is going to be okay. Oh, it's a celebration, it's an exception, okay? So after the negotiation process, what you're likely to do is that you're going to start eating. And then, of course, we start giving us more permissions, because it's like, okay, so I ate something, who will know, like, this is okay, I can have a bite more, etc., etc., etc. So after that, the next Monday, you weigh yourself. And when you see the value of the scale, is a value that doesn't make you happy, okay? So why this scheme is so powerful? Because it reveals the relationship between our thoughts and the results that we have. If I'm a person that has the belief that I can't say no, I work with a lot of people pleasers, so this is very common. If I have a person that has the belief that I can't say no, then it's going to be impossible for me to be in my weight or to achieve the weight that I want to reach. Why? Because a lot of times I will have to say no. I will have to go against the social pressure. If I'm a person that has the belief that I'm an anxious person, I'm going to experience a lot of anxiety. I will turn to food to cover that anxiety, and then I will not have the result. So I think that the lesson here in terms of mindfulness is to understand how our thoughts have an impact in our results. If today I'm not achieving the result that I want, which can be like any result, it could be like meeting your water requirements for the day, for example, okay? It could be walking, for example, okay? If you are not achieving today a specific result, it's because there are beliefs underneath that are blocking you. Or you have limiting beliefs that are not aligned with that result. So my invitation is going to be to start being aware of those thoughts. That is going to be the invitation. And again, stop and start listening to your inner dialogue. What are you telling about yourself? Maybe you are telling to yourself that this is not possible for you, that this got difficult, that you are not going to be able to make it, that maybe this is for others, etc., etc., etc. And what I see a lot of things is that a lot of people sabotage themselves because they have these thoughts that are important to clean and that are important to be removed. Okay? Do you have any questions? April, is there something happening in the chat? Because I see that there are some messages, but I don't know like what has been happening.
Yeah, I mean, the chat is, I mean, I think everybody is really resonating with this. And I think where our work lies, right, is that we, like you said, we really need to understand what are we believing about that flow of what you have on the screen there, right? And how is that impacting those results? And I was trying to think of like, what am I telling myself about where I currently am? And I don't know that yet, but I need to figure that out if I want to understand it. And Lauren, yeah, again, a really great comment in the chat. She said, I have a similar reaction that when I get a good number on the scale. So when we step on the scale and we're seeing a number that's, you know, we're interpreting as positive, I feel more room to be less vigilant, right? So it's like, oh, well, I've done a great job. So, you know, I can celebrate a little bit, or I don't need to be quite so, you know, vigilant because clearly this is working and everything's great. But that mindset can also lead to a limiting belief that, you know, that we really do have this lifestyle, you know, down pat, when in fact we maybe don't.
Well, and it's also
Okay.
the avalanche effect in that manner that, you know, you just that one little thing, you're like, oh, well, you know, one piece of pizza didn't make me gain all my weight, so I'll be good with that. And then the next day it's, well, you know, a couple of different things didn't make me, you know, I didn't gain it all in a couple, you know, all in like a week. And then the more you do, it just kind of goes through. But yeah, Lauren, go ahead.
Yeah, no. So my weight loss shows up 2 weeks later, right? Like I do 2 weeks of solid and it's like, woo, that's it. That's the magic right there. And I see it and I'm super excited. And I've done very well. I'm 11 months out. I have, God willing, 20 more pounds I'm going to lose. Right. If I get to 20 pounds, oh my God. I mean, I could lose more. Like there's more room in, you know, in the area, but 20 pounds would be great. And yet it gets in my head. Like I had a great 2 weeks and I got to a number. I was in the stall for a while. I got to a number. I was like, oh my God, like I can do this. And then it was like, yeah, I can do this. So like I can, you know, do things a little looser and still do this. And it was like, what am I doing? Like it's just, there's no winning, Rodolfo, right? There's I don't believe I can do it, right? The limiting beliefs is a core issue for me. Like, whoa, in every bit of my life, that's the thing I have to fight. I've accomplished a lot, but that's the thing I have to fight to get through. But then as I am achieving, whoa, I am like, okay, I'm achieving enough. And it's like, it's so stupid. It just feels so stupid, but I can't win.
Mhm.
I play both ends, right? I play both ends of the progress.
It's
Well, and
interesting. Oh, sorry, Jason.
And I was just going to add to the end of that. One of the things as far as mindset and the belief of that goes, you're right. There is no winning. There's finishing, and that finish comes when we're no longer here. Like honestly, this is the long-term journey. This is not a sprint. It is a marathon to the fullest, and it ends when we're, you know, when we cease to exist. So if you can somehow find a way, you know, working with us and Rodolfo to get that winning mindset out, just it's as you accomplish. That's why we celebrate small wins that lead up to bigger wins, because of that simple fact that, you know, we just kind of take those as we go along, the same way you've done with all you've accomplished in your life outside of the bariatric space. You know, we've got more than a handful of people in here that just strive to do, you know, the next and just to better themselves at all time, but still have such a negative, you know, just reflection of themselves. And, you know, negative thoughts and negative talk comes in. You just, you know, that's what the biggest thing you have to, you know, that we're going to need to zero in to work on. Because if we look at this like there's an end goal, even that if that's your goal weight, whatever else that may be, we hit on what we talked about once before, which is called the arrival fallacy. So you think you're going to be happy if you get to such and such a number on the scale. Then you get there and you look around and you're like, all right, what's next? Now I don't have anything else to do, so I guess I'm done as a bariatric patient. And that's where problems start creeping in, because it's never a done thing. We're in recovery from our previous selves from now on, because at any 15, 20, however many years down the road, as you can still tap you on the shoulder and be like, hey, what's up? Remember me? And then bam. And then, you know, it just, that's kind of how you look at it, as it's an easier way to get the finish line goals, you know, out of your mind.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Thanks for sharing that, Jason. And I totally agree. Like, we never end. Like, I would say that today I'm in my weight, a happy weight, right? But it's a work that still needs to happen, like, forever. Because I need to accept that I have a tendency, and my tendency is to have an unbalanced relationship with food. And I need to be careful because food is always going to be for me a temptation, and I will tend to cover my emotions with food, right? So it's a work that never ends. I think that is like great that you shared that. And April, I have some comments for you, given what you said, because it's totally fine if you don't know the limiting beliefs that you have. And I imagine that there's a lot of people here tonight that they don't know what they tell themselves, right? Actually, I have some mathematical statistics that will help you because we are just aware about a 10% of our thoughts. So if you are not aware of your limiting beliefs, that is totally fine. That is totally normal. This is a process. It's a journey. So you are going to start exploring and discovering. So thanks for bringing that up, April. And Lauren, I have some comments for you because you started talking about like not winning, not being feasible, right? You said like, I can't win. And I was thinking when you were sharing, what would happen if you win? Like maybe there's a part of you that is scared of that, right? And
Oh
maybe...
my God. No. Okay. This is not what this is about. And I'm in the middle of laundry because my laundry person is not going to be here all week. We're going to get it done. I'm terrified of winning. Like Rodolfo, I have achieved so much in my life. I'm sorry, it's my washing machine. I've achieved so much in my life, but I always go like under. I just go under. And it's pissing me off right now because my whole self is fighting against it. I've lost a lot of weight. I notice how I'm treated differently at work. Like my life, I'm treated differently. And I'm pissed because, like what could have been. But if I let that go, I want what could be, right? I can shake off what could have been, move on to what could be. I still really screw up. What could I do? Like, how do I win, right? I want to win. Like, I really do. I
Okay,
admit that here. I admit that here.
I have some advice for you. Of course, maybe this could be something that we could discover like deeply, like in a session or something like that. But I see this happening. What is happening to you? A lot. And I would say that these are like self-defense mechanisms, right? So self-sabotage is very common and we need to understand that because there's a part of us that sometimes is scared. And the new and winning and shining for a lot of people is scary. And that has deeper meanings that should be explored in your case. That's what I would like to suggest, right? So I'm sharing this because probably this is not just you. I think that a lot of us have those fears. And because maybe during our lives, we learned that that wasn't for us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's scary.
Yeah.
So when we feel that fear, then we sabotage ourselves and we don't understand why we are the way we are, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I do.
So again, like this is a process. I think that there's a lot to discover and just like ask yourself, this is going to be my advice. If you shine, if you win, if you succeed and you get the result that you know that you're capable to get, in what position that puts you? Why that could be scary? Okay, that's the question that I would like to like ask you and maybe open up a space for reflection that could be deeper, not now.
No, because there's not enough time for this and that's not what this meeting is about. I recognize that too, but I so appreciate it.
Yeah, and the other thing is that like this meeting is about all of you, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that you sharing open up the space for open people, for others to discover too. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Yes. And when I'm talking to you, I'm not just talking to you. I'm talking to all of you. And I imagine that some of you are like reflecting and saying like, yes, I sabotage myself because there are things that are scary. Of course, right? You can see like the faces that are moving. So that happens, right? So are you ready to continue?
Yeah.
Let's go. Okay, so next concept that I would like to introduce are habits, okay? What are habits? Actions that we do regularly, and typically we do them with a low level of awareness. Okay, so we do those actions automatically. Like, for example, what I said off the phone, like we just like see the notification and we need to check what is happening, right? When I explain how habits work, I always show this experiment that some scientists did in a laboratory with a rat. You can see here a rat. This line is a gate, okay? And here inside of this maze, we have the cheese. So what did the scientists did? They put this rat there and they opened the gate. So when the gate was opened, the rat felt the smell of the cheese. And of course, this rat started running, okay? Running through the maze. And the first times, maybe this rat got lost, didn't know what to do, then went down, then went up and got the cheese. But the scientists noticed that after a specific amount of repetitions, the rat went straight to the cheese. They opened the gate and the rat went straight directly to the cheese, okay? And at that point, we're going to say that this rat built up a habit. What is the habit? The habit of going straight to the cheese. And if you notice, the habit has 3 stages. So first, there's a trigger, meaning we need to open the gate and the rat needs to smell the cheese. Then the rat runs, which is a routine. And after that, this rat gets the cheese, which is a reward, okay? So all the habits follow the same structure, always. So for example, let's say that I watch a notification, I check my phone, and after that, I feel relief, okay? Or maybe I'm experiencing anxiety, I eat something, and after that, I experience pleasure. Or maybe I smell my breath and I think that it's not nice, I brush my teeth, and then I feel fresh and clean. Or let's say that I wake up in the morning, I'm sleepy, I have a coffee, and after that, I feel full of energy, okay? So this is the typical structure of a habit. And I'm talking about habits because we have a lot of eating habits that sometimes are part of this unbalanced relationship with food, okay? So for example, let's say that I'm a person that eats when I'm experiencing an uncomfortable emotion. Maybe my trigger are emotions. So I experience this emotion and what I do is turn to food, eat something, and after that I experience relief. Or maybe I'm a person that doesn't know how to say no. So every time that someone offers something to me, I say yes, I eat, and then I experience pleasure. And not just the pleasure of food, maybe I experience a sense of belonging or approval, which is a reward too, okay? So my invitation for you is going to be to start exploring your habits and to start exploring the triggers that make you eat when you are not hungry. To me, eating is something that we should do and we should enjoy it, right? But in its perfect amount, right? Like we need to eat in order to give like nutrients to our body and energy. And it's okay and it's perfect to eat. It's perfect. Actually, I'm not the kind of person that thinks that there are types of like food that are dangerous or that you should not eat. Like I don't like restrictions. I think that everything is perfect in its perfect amount, right? And that's to me, it's balance, like everything on its perfect amount. So what I would like to ask you tonight are, what are your triggers? What are your triggers? And if you are eating, what is generating that? Is because you are hungry, or is because you are experiencing another sensation, or is because you are coming up from an automatic pattern, okay? And associated to that, I would like to introduce a distinction that I love, which is the following. Real hunger and fake hunger, okay? Real hunger and fake hunger. And I think that this is like the core of this workshop, of this class about mindful eating. So real hunger is this pain that we experience at the level of our stomach when we haven't eaten for a specific amount of hours, let's say 3-4 hours, okay? But this is something that is variable. But that is real hunger. Fake hunger are all those times that we eat when we are not experiencing real hunger. So fake hunger could include different categories. Like what? For example, emotional eating. Maybe I'm experiencing anxiety, stress, I'm angry, maybe I'm frustrated, maybe I feel loneliness, etc. Fake hunger, includes also some automatic behaviors. Like what? For example, I arrive from my job and what I do is go straight to the fridge. I open the fridge and I eat something. Okay, automatically, I just do that. Or maybe when it's nighttime and I'm watching TV, I need to eat something and I just go and pick something. Okay. Fake hunger also includes those times when we are exposed to, for example, a TV commercial, or we start thinking about food and we start craving eating without being hungry. Okay. So associated to these concepts, my invitation before eating anything is going to be to stop again. And you are going to ask yourself, why am I eating? I'm experiencing real hunger or I'm experiencing fake hunger. And if you're experiencing real hunger, you can eat something that you are allowed to, right? But if you're experiencing fake hunger, my invitation is going to be to manage that sensation, okay? So if we are talking about emotions, manage the emotion. And typically emotions are linked to some needs that we may have. So for example, let's say that I'm feeling alone. In that case, what I could do is call someone, get together with someone. Maybe I'm experiencing anxiety. If I'm experiencing anxiety, what I need is to relax and to be calm. So maybe I could meditate. Maybe I'm sad. So what I could do is to release, is to cry, and maybe just write what is happening to me. But my invitation is going to be to connect to what is happening and manage that in a powerful way instead of covering this fake hunger. Am I being clear? Yes. Do you have any comments, questions? Please remember that this night is all about you and I want you to create value. So use me, please.
I did put in the chat, another group I was previously with had challenges to get an accountability partner. So someone who they could be surgical, non-surgical, same surgery, different surgery, but someone that you can reach out to every day to connect with, but also in those times of need to express your feelings, express the anxieties, kind of what's going on. And even just sometimes if they don't answer, just getting it off of your chest to their answering machine can be enough.
That I totally agree. Actually, I wanted to share with you that in our program that was called Balance, every student had a pal, okay, which was a person that you reach out in those cases that you didn't know what to do. But the mission of that person was to give you emotional support, basically, because a lot of times you're going to experience those emotions and you will not know how to like manage them. And a lot of times you're going to have limiting beliefs. So talking to others, sharing to others is something that helps us to get clarity. And also it helps to release our emotions. So thanks for that comment, because I think that like having someone like a pal, our accountability friend, or a person that we know that is there, it's something that helps a lot. Thanks for that comment. Yes. So April, are there any like questions or comments in the chat? related to.
somebody, the accountability partner is a powerful tool that we can use. And that can be hard though, if we don't have anybody, if we don't feel that we have somebody kind of that we can, can go to. And I think that's why social media can be really powerful and important. It's literally one of the reasons that we created our membership community, is because we wanted to provide that safe place for people that was secure and not so public, so that you could have a space to just put it out there and then have the community kind of wrap you right in that hug that you're looking for. Finding that place or that person to have these conversations with can be really powerful. And that's what I'm seeing in the chat, right? And I know a lot, this is what I'm struggling with, right? I am eating when I'm not hungry. Why am I doing this? And it's just because I know I'm putting off some feelings and some emotions, and I'm telling myself that I don't have the capacity or the energy to deal with them. That's my limiting belief. But I'm finding that is only perpetuating something happening that I don't want to happen. So, and I say this all the time, sometimes we have to slow down to go fast. I need to slow down and understand and acknowledge my emotions and work through them so that I can move beyond the struggle that I'm having right now with overeating, and, move faster again in my journey and even my emotional understanding of myself. Yeah, Jackie, please do share.
Sorry, I'm not really familiar with this Zoom thing, but I know I was supposed to come here and do this. I've really been struggling. And I started off, I'm a little over a year out, April 7th of last year. I started really, really, really well. And then I hit a stall like December, and I haven't lost anything December. I guess I lost like 115 and moving in today. And so recently I've started creeping back up, and I have a lot of anxiety about it, even to the point like I was following you guys on Instagram, and it's like it's just too hard. It's too hard to follow because I see a lot of success, and I see a lot of people saying, do the work, do the hard work. And it's like, God, I know that's what has to happen. And I know that's why I am where I am. But it's I'm somewhere in that place of like, be proud of yourself for where you are. But go, you have further to go. It is just a really, really strange place to be. It's a hard place to have that compassion and to try to get to that food freedom, because God, that's what I want, and I appreciate you guys.
Jackie, can I just say thank you for being so honest. I think everybody here feels your pain and your suffering. Most of us have gone through or are going through what you are, right? Which is this, like, it was fine and now it's not. You're not alone. What you're actually experiencing is what it is. And this is why it is so hard to find success even after bariatric surgery. Mm-hmm. What you are experiencing is what I would 90% of us have experienced.
Well, and I wanted to say, I just came to this realization myself, Jackie, that there is no after. There's no infinite or finite after. And that's when we have to do this part of realizing that there's no finite after. It's just life. And I just want to commend you for being here tonight, because that is the first step to getting back to where you want to be.
Yeah, I just put in the chat. Jackie, be sad, be mad, be angry, be all those things. You are allowed. Those are your true emotions. And that's what's coming through right now. But the fact that you clicked onto a Zoom session with a bunch of squares.
And I couldn't even get logged in at first. I was having trouble and I was like, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to do it.
But
So,
look, but
yeah.
you are doing it. And the fact that you continue to ask yourself these deep questions, even just asking the question, right? That's the starting point. I don't have an answer. You don't have an answer. That's okay. But that's what this is all about, is going, ooh, this is not, something is wrong here. Something is off. And then just exploring. Exploring. I mean, I hope you're reading this chat, Jackie, because it's just blowing up for you. You are getting the love.
Yeah, the fact that you jumped in here and you not only you recognized you needed to be somewhere where the support was, you realized that even though it was hard to follow, you stayed in the fight. You showed up for yourself. You didn't show up for us. You didn't show up for anybody else in here. You're here for you. And that's the most important thing, because before surgery, we didn't show up for ourselves. We showed up at the drive-through for ourselves. We showed up at all the unhealthy places for ourselves because we knew that was where the comfort was. But you sought a different venue this time. And so the outcome is going to be different. So to get what you've never had, you've got to do what you've never done. And you're willing to do that because you could have opted out the first time you didn't get into the Zoom meeting, but you didn't. You stayed with it. And that persistence is the same level of persistence you're going to need to get back in bariatric compliance, which you're not that far out of. I mean, everybody thinks that once you get off the path, it all blows up, because that's what we've done for so many years in diet culture and the way we were pre-op. But this is different. Like you're never that far from the path. You have the tools, you have the backup, you've got the support. And so moving forward, you can now start to build that plan to get you back where you want to be. And like we said, the fact that you showed up tonight is the first step to doing that very thing.
Yes. Thanks for sharing, Jackie, and for being vulnerable, as I said at the beginning. If you have noticed this night, we are all struggling in different ways. And today you just shared how you're struggling. And I always say the following: to me, like, this journey is like a curve, right? And if today you're in some part of that curve and you feel that you're stuck, my thought is that maybe there are some tools that you need that you haven't discovered yet, which is totally fine. Because as I said at the beginning, the process and the problem, it's a complex problem. And maybe there was a part of yourself that told you, like, oh, if you had the surgery, then you were going to be able to achieve your goals, which is true. But maybe you need more tools. So thanks for coming today, because you allowed yourself to understand that maybe you didn't have all the tools, which is totally fine, because we never have all the tools. We never end up learning. And today you're going to leave this class with new tools and start exploring yourself and learning. And then when you get those tools, you're going to keep advancing. And probably you're going to get stuck again, because that's how life is. Not just for you, for all of us in different areas of our life. And then we will have to get new tools. And that's part of humanity and personal self-growth.
Yes, April. It's funny that you said that, Rodolfo, because April and I were just talking about this the other day, and it put the best visualization in our head when it came to the tools. Like what you think of when you get handed your little toolbox after bariatric surgery is like one of those small old school like wooden toolboxes that hold like a hammer and a couple screwdrivers. And really what it is one of those big ass like snap-on toolboxes that they roll out, that's taller than you are, that has all the drawers and all the shelves and shit, because you can't fit all the tools in there. Yes, the Husky, it's just like that. The big rolling one that has like the super wheels and the radio and all, because you legit, like, the tools you need are crazy.
Yeah, and I think that is a matter of keep collecting. Like, that's the game. Keep collecting, learning, growing, advancing, yep. And that's it. And if you're stuck, there's something that you're not seeing. So there are new tools. And you're just keeping, like, taking yourself to the next level. And that's how we grow. And in the future, we're going to face different challenges. So, like, this never ends. Yes.
Which can seem daunting, but it's not. I would much rather have the most well-polished, well-stocked toolbox, then not at all. Because I think all of us here, we're here because we want those tools. We're here because we know we're missing something and we are looking for that tool. And for me, this is the life that I want to choice into every day, because I remember what life was like before surgery. And I don't want that. And like I said in the chat, Jackie, what is so crazy about this journey, at least for me, is that when I realized that when I started to do things after surgery that I had done before surgery, I wasn't getting the same level of comfort. And that's a terrifying moment. And I think that's probably where you're at, right? Like, you're starting to realize I'm doing some things that I did before, but they're not bringing me comfort. And for me, the sheer terror of not having something that I could turn to find comfort was just kind of my rock bottom. And it came about the same place that you are. And that's really where I had to make a commitment. Am I going to commit to my bariatric life, or am I going to commit to living my life the same way that I did before? So it's a big decision, and it's very scary. So, you know, that sense of fear is spot on. I know this conversation is meaningful and valuable. It is 6:15. We had an hour.
I was going to ask you, April, how much time do we have left? Because I would like to respect everybody's time. So
yes, yep. I think if we could go for maybe 5 or 10 more, 10 at the max, and then we will have to say goodbye to our friends. But
that's
yeah,
perfect. I can adapt to that. Okay, that's great. So we were going to do an exercise tonight here. Okay, but that exercise is going to be an assignment. Okay, and a homework to do after the class. So I would like you to explore your relationship with food. And what do I mean with this? Today we talked about the 3 layers of the brain. We talked about the impulses. We talked about emotions, thoughts, beliefs, habits, real hunger, fake hunger. Okay. So I would just like you to give yourself a time to reflect, do a discovery work. Maybe you can play like some music that allow you to focus, okay? And just write about your relationship with food. What triggers you the desire to eat? What are the habits that you have that you would like to change? And I would like to challenge you to do this exercise and taking your time. I think that is something that sometimes is so difficult and we don't allow ourselves to connect. But I think that the power of the exercise is there in allowing yourself to connect, explore, discover. And after discovering, I know that there are some creative solutions that are going to come up for you. So that is going to be your assignment. Take your time to write. And remember, writing is powerful because when we write, we are able to process our emotions. So I want you to write in a paper, okay? Dr. Adams can explain you about that.
I was like, I have a journal break tomorrow. If you want to join me, I'll add these prompts to it.
Perfect. Thanks, Whitney. Thanks, because it's so powerful. Okay, so that's going to be your assignment. And before closing this class, I would like to know if you have some comments, questions, etc. So I would like to open the space for that. Do we have some questions? Or comments, anything. Remember that the purpose tonight is for you to create value. So you shouldn't leave with questions.
I just want to thank you. It was very helpful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming. Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you, because I'm dealing with the mindful eating of eating when I'm not hungry. And so now my anxiety is a little bit high about all the work I have to do to try and figure this out. But other than that, I'm good. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Thanks for sharing that, Megan. And it's a pleasure to see you and share with you. Yes. Someone else before closing, because I have important information to give you. Yes.
I think everyone in the chat is saying that you know, that 15-second stop and think is going to be really powerful for them. You know, am I eating because I'm truly hungry, or is this emotions? That seems to be resonating with a lot of people.
Mhm. Thanks, Natalie, for that. And yes, allow yourself to stop. Because remember, we live in automatic and we don't stop. And then we end up eating and we don't know why. So the beginning to like transforming our relationship with food is to understanding why we're doing what we're doing. Yes, totally. April is saying thankful for this community. Yeah, I'm thankful too. I'm thankful too. So before closing this meetup, this event that was amazing, I felt great with you tonight. I would like to invite you to something, okay? So tonight I talked about different concepts. I talked about impulses, emotions, beliefs, etc. And I think that this is like a good summary of some of the work that Variation does. Actually, in Variation, you have a support group and you have different classes with experts that will talk about emotional eating. Like, for example, Whitney, that will help you to practice journaling, or I will teach some classes. You have other classes related to what to eat with dietitians, etc. So if you are here and in this class you created value, my invitation will be to join Variation. And actually, you can join Variation for 2 weeks for free, try the classes and see if you like the experience. And I promise you that you will love it and you will never leave Variation. But that is going to be my invitation. And as we discussed tonight, it's so important to have a support group. Really, really important. I think that the journey is easier when we are with others that are going through the same. So my invitation is going to be to take this opportunity. And the community and the people of the community, in my experience, are warm and they are there for you for whatever you need. So don't miss this chance. April, is there some information that people should know if they would like to join Variation and try this 14 months, like what they should do?
I am so thankful for everybody that is here tonight. I know many of you access the services in Variation, in that the membership community. We built it because we wanted a safe and secure place for this work to happen. We know that this work right now is happening publicly. And maybe you want to dive a little bit deeper, or maybe you're just looking for that extra layer of support. Please, you can reach out to me directly. You're welcome to direct message us on Instagram. You can email me. I'm april@variation.com. I'm happy to give you just kind of like a personal tour, talk to you more about what we are creating within that membership community that is just there for our members. So if you have any questions at all about what we're doing inside that community, please reach out. We're happy to answer all of them for you. And Rodolfo is, of course, one of our most amazing experts that is in the Variation membership community. And he's just here for the greater bariatric community, because the chat is really reinforcing, we need this type of support in our lives. If we want to find and maintain that happy, healthy weight, if we want to help navigate these storms that come our way, if we want to really create the life for ourselves that we know we want, this is the type of support that we need. So please reach out or just visit us online. We're just at variation.com. Happy to answer, help, guide, anything that we can do. We are here to support you because we're successful because of you, because of this community. So we're just looking to give back and grow the support that exists for all of us.
Thanks for that information, April. And I would like to say that what we started tonight is something that continues. This was just the beginning. And that's why I think that joining Variation is so powerful. Actually, this week, I will have a coaching session on Wednesday. So I will be glad to be with you there and start working with the concepts that we covered tonight. And I know that Winnie has some classes too. So like just check the events calendar, which is full of activities, and I love it. And the other thing that I would like to do before closing is to invite you to another activity. Okay, so as I told you at the beginning, I'm a wellness coach and I offer different coaching programs. And typically to the people of Bari Nation that attend my classes, I offer a free discovery session. Okay, I know that some of you have taken the discovery session, but what is a discovery session? Basically, we get together for 1 hour in a session where I help you to discover the roots of your emotional blockages and different blockages that you could have, like for example, beliefs or some emotions that you don't know how to manage. And what we do is understand the roots of those blockages and we start working on them. So for the people that attended tonight, I'm going to open up 3 slots. So you can send me a DM to my Instagram account, which is there, Rodolfo Alvarez X, and I'll be glad to schedule a discovery session with you. Okay, I know that some people here have taken the discovery session. Maureen is saying, do the discovery session. When you say, okay, thanks for that. So yes, I have 3 slots. So I will be glad to keep sharing with you. And I think that this workshop opened up the space to discover a lot of things. So take the advantage to continue with your journey. That is going to be my invitation. So just send me a DM and we will schedule and I'll be glad to keep working with you. So April, before closing, would you like to add something?
I would like to thank you, Rodolfo, for your time, for your expertise, for your willingness to help our community grow in ways that we all know we need to. I very much appreciate you. Always do an amazing job of acknowledging that while you haven't had bariatric surgery, weight has been a struggle for you. And it really helps me, and I know it helps others connect to you on a bit of a deeper level because you're willing to be so public and open about your own struggles and your own journey. So just from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all that you're doing for this community. I couldn't do it without you. Rodolfo gave me a word that 20 years of therapy could not give me in my first discovery session with him. It's been a real gift in my personal life. And just a huge thank you to everybody that joined us live. A huge thank you to everybody that is watching this recording. By you being here, you are committing to yourself and to our community and to being a source of good in a world that can sometimes feel very heavy and dark. So just thank you for being brave and clicking that Zoom link and taking a chance. I hope that you're leaving here with some new information, some valuable information, and some tools that you can use immediately to create that life for yourself that we all know we deserve. And yeah, just thank you guys so very much. Very much appreciate all of you.
Yeah, thanks for attending this meetup. And it was a pleasure to share with you. I'm honored of being here and being a part of Bari Nation. Thanks for welcoming to this community. And I will see you soon. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, friends. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, friends.
I'm going to stop recording.
Oh yes, somebody said Rodolfo is incredible. Yeah, Whitney said it. Oh, I can do that.
April, you're